There's been growing fear across the UK, especially among those who rely on personal independence payment, or PIP, to get by. Over the past few months, talk of sweeping changes to the benefit system has triggered uncertainty, anxiety, and even panic in some households. For many, PIP isn't just a government payment, it's the difference between surviving and struggling, between independence and isolation. With the Department for Work and Pensions confirming that changes are coming next year, millions of people with long-term health conditions and disabilities have been asking the same question. Will I still qualify? These aren't people asking for handouts. These are people who live every day with invisible pain, mobility issues, mental health battles, or lifelong conditions that limit their daily activities. Many of them have fought hard just to get the help they already receive. Now, the idea of having to go through more assessments, more stress, and possibly losing that help, it's terrifying. And let's be honest, the system hasn't always felt fair or easy to navigate. So when we heard the government was changing how PIP is assessed, tightening rules, increasing thresholds, there was a real fear that people would fall through the cracks, that support would be lost, and lives would be upended. But now, there's finally some reassurance from DWP ministers. So what exactly is changing, and who could be affected? The Department for Work and Pensions is adjusting how PIP is assessed, especially the daily living component, which helps with things like preparing meals, managing medication, communicating or maintaining personal hygiene. Under the new rules, claimants will need to score at least 4 points in one specific area of activity to continue receiving this support. That might sound like a small number, but for many, it's a steep challenge, and here's why it matters. If you don't meet that threshold, you could lose up to £110 per week. That's over £5,700 a year. Gone, just like that. For someone already living on the edge, that could mean choosing between food or heating, between medication or rent. According to early estimates, about 10% of current claimants may not meet the new criteria once reassessments begin. That's tens of thousands of people at risk of losing critical support, not because their condition improved, but because the assessment framework shifted beneath their feet. And the truth is, many people living with mental health issues, cognitive impairments, or fluctuating conditions may struggle to show their challenges clearly on paper, even when those challenges affect their daily lives in very real ways. But amidst the fear, there is one lifeline. The DWP has made a clear commitment. Those with the most severe and lifelong conditions will not lose their PIP. This assurance came directly from Disabilities Minister Sir Stephen Timms, who stated that people expected to need benefits for the rest of their lives will continue to receive support, regardless of the changes. So what does that mean? It means if you or a loved one lives with a permanent disability, a progressive illness, or a condition that severely limits your independence and isn't expected to improve, your PIP should remain secure. It's not just a policy decision, it's a recognition of dignity, of fairness, of reality. But make no mistake, this doesn't mean everyone is safe. The burden will still be on claimants to prove how their condition affects them. Assessments will still happen. Evidence will still be required. And there's always the risk that the system could overlook someone's true needs. That's why it's more important than ever to understand the criteria, prepare for assessments, and so, where do we go from here? That question echoes in the minds of thousands of people across the UK right now, people who depend on personal independence payment not for luxuries, but for survival, for stability, for the ability to live a life of dignity in a world that too often overlooks the daily struggles of those with disabilities. This isn't just a news headline, It's personal, it's emotional, and for many, it's frightening, because when the government announces sweeping changes to a benefit as vital as PIP, people don't just worry about paperwork or policy. They worry about whether they'll still be able to afford basic necessities. They worry about whether their independence will be taken away. They worry about being forgotten by a system they once trusted to protect them. Let's talk honestly. There has been a lot of confusion and fear surrounding the new assessment framework. The DWP's move to adjust how the daily living component of PIP is scored has stirred up concern, especially the requirement that claimants must now score at least 4 points in one single area of activity to continue qualifying for support. To the average person, that might sound technical or bureaucratic, but for someone who relies on PIP to pay for food, transport to medical appointments, or help with bathing and dressing, that technicality could mean everything. And while the government has come forward to reassure the public that individuals with lifelong, severe disabilities will not lose their benefits, the reality is more complicated. Because this reassurance, while important, does not eliminate the need for preparation. It does not mean you'll be automatically exempt, and it certainly doesn't mean the system won't make mistakes. So if you're a claimant, what should you do? First and foremost, take action now to prepare yourself for reassessment. Don't wait for a letter to arrive or for changes to kick in officially. Start gathering your documentation today. Collect detailed, up-to-date medical records. Talk to your GP, your specialist, your occupational therapist, your mental health support worker, anyone who can help explain clearly and accurately how your condition affects your daily life. Speak from the heart. Share what your everyday reality looks like, not just on your best days, but on your worst ones too, because that's when support is most vital. You need to show how your condition impacts the things many people take for granted: cooking, cleaning, managing your medication, getting dressed, communicating, staying safe. For some, these tasks are exhausting. For others, they're impossible without help. And the people making decisions about your support need to understand that. Be honest. This isn't about exaggerating your condition. It's about painting a full and accurate picture of your life. Fatigue that hits like a wall, pain that turns every movement into a battle, anxiety that clouds your thinking, memory lapses that make simple tasks feel overwhelming. It's time to tell the truth that often gets hidden. And even with all this preparation, know this: if your claim is refused or downgraded unfairly, you still have rights. You can challenge it, you can appeal, and you should. Because many people who challenge DWP decisions do win. In fact, the majority of appeals that go to tribunal are successful, but that journey can be long, stressful, and exhausting. So, the more you do now to prepare, the better. And if this all sounds overwhelming, please remember, you do not have to go through this alone. Across the UK, there are organisations that exist to support you. People who understand how the system works and who will stand by you every step of the way. People who will help you fill out forms, gather your evidence, write your appeal letters, and make sure your voice is heard. Charities like Citizens Advice, Scope, Disability Rights UK, and Turn to Use are here for you. They exist because they know the system is complicated. They exist because they believe you deserve support. Don't be afraid to reach out. Don't suffer in silence. Because here's the truth: PP isn't just about money. It's about security. It's about independence. It's about knowing that no matter what your condition, no matter how invisible your disability may be to others, the country you live in still recognizes your need for support and dignity. Too often, people with disabilities are made to feel invisible, told they're not disabled enough, told they don't look sick, dismissed, doubted, and disbelieved. But you know your truth. You live it every single day. You know what your body can and can't do. You know what your mind battles with. And you know when you need help. So don't let anyone take that truth away from you. And if you're a carer watching this, or a family member, or a friend, your support matters. Your voice matters too. Help your loved one gather their evidence. Sit with them during assessments. Advocate for them if they fee, and keep your medical documents up to date.